Our next reader is Alejandro Puyana, is a Venezuelan writer living in Texas. His work has been published by the Tin House blog, Wishacha, the Huffington Post, The Toast, and adapted for radio by NPR, the Texas Standard. He makes a living as a political writer for progressive causes. He is currently working on a novel about Venezuela titled Freedom is a Feast. Please help me welcome Ali.
Thank you. My story also has profanity, but it's in Spanish. All you guys need to know is that this is set in Venezuela, and that Petare is the biggest slum in Caracas and one of the biggest slums in Latin America. Eloy and Willie were put on a gray bus with 12 other prisoners. Inside, the bus was all sharp edges, as if it had skipped the last part of the assembly line. No cushions on the seats except on 2 rows up front. No operable windows, no seat belts or safety features of any kind. Eloy could see the rusted welding marks that kept the steel together. There were 12 rows of seats, and in between each seat was a metal armrest that served as an anchor for securing handcuffs. Coño, pana, these seats are uncomfortable, Eloy whispered to Wilmer, sitting next to him. But Willie just stared ahead and kept quiet. Eloy could almost hear the fire in Willie's belly crackling, expanding slowly through the dry brush, the brown grass, the dead trees inside of him. His anger all-consuming. It seemed to Eloy that if Willie's skin were cut open and pulled away, it would push out ash instead of blood, revealing a smaller version of Willie made of charred wood. Eloy said nothing more. Eloy had always seen the difference between himself and those outside the slums. The stark line that divided Petare from Caracas could have been a moat, it was so obvious. But inside the barrio, within the kingdom of the poor, its own winners and losers abounded. Its kings and queens, its paupers and beggars, its fools and scoundrels. The lines that separated them were blurrier, more fuzzy, but no less there. Having a mother like Maria, that worked, made a living, was able to mostly put 3 meals on the table, put Eloy above one of those lines. It gave him a stick to measure himself against and a shrine to pray to. The only stick Willie had was the one his drunk uncle used to beat him with all through his childhood, and his only shrine was money. And for the first time, with his friends staring at nothing, he saw how different they both were. All the fear inside of Eloy was rage inside of Willie. And why would Willie be afraid? He had nothing to lose. Eloy had his mom and his job and a life that before this mistake could have been seen as a decent one. Willie had a gun and his anger. The first he'd find a replacement for soon enough. The second was the one thing no one could ever take away from him. One prisoner, the color and girth of an 18-wheeler tire, sat right behind the guards in the only other cushioned seat on the bus. He was cuffed as well, but there seemed to be special deference given to his comfort and well-being. He was asked if the cuffs were too tight, if he wanted a bottle of water. He just swung his large head side to side, a silent no. The bus started with a loud rumbling. It was already too hot in the bus, and they haven't even started their almost 20-hour ride west, where the Cárcel Nacional de Maracaibo was located, the biggest penitentiary in the country according to his lord. He had said it like something to be proud of, like Eloy should be happy he's going there instead of somewhere else. It was so far away. To his mother, Maracaibo might have as well been Mars, although by all accounts it was warmer in Maracaibo. The hours spent on the road west felt like a funeral procession, but without the ceremony. No cars followed with their emergency blinkers on, carrying grieving mothers or flower arrangements. No old ladies that saw it pass made the sign of the cross and lifted short prayers for their souls. It was an individual procession, each prisoner carrying it inside and saying their own private goodbyes. Darkness met them on the highway 10 hours into their trip. Eloy saw the prisoner sitting behind the guards, the special one, rise up slightly from his seat and whisper into the guard's ear. The guard stood up then and took a couple of steps to the driver, saying something to him in turn. The guard then faced the prisoners and spoke. We're making a pit stop. Everybody stay quiet and calm, and we'll get moving shortly. The prisoners all looked at each other. Eloy wanted to ask questions. Can we get something to eat? Can we go to the bathroom? He hoped someone else would ask these questions he had, and figured everyone else was thinking the same thing. He looked at Willie beside him and found the same blank look, as expressive as an empty vase. Can we go to the bathroom? Eloy said. Every prisoner except Willie and the big guy looked at him and then back at the guards waiting for the answer. The guard walked to the back of the bus with his rifle. He lightly pressed the butt of his rifle on Eloy's genitalia and started pushing slowly until Eloy felt himself pinned between the rifle and the metal seat. He closed his eyes and tried to breathe, holding in any noise wanting to get out. "How are you going to go to the bathroom without a dick?" the guard said, loud enough for everyone else to hear, but he didn't scream it or say it violently. He then removed the rifle as slowly as he had placed it and walked away to his seat. As they neared the pit stop, the only people speaking were the guard and the special prisoner. Eloy couldn't hear them, but he could tell it was cordial. He even saw the guard smile once or twice. The bus stopped a few minutes later, pulling over into a big gas station, clean and well lit. The door opened and the bus was flooded with the smells coming from the chicken restaurant next to the gas station, the gasoline fumes mixing with the intoxicating smell of rotisserie chicken. From his seat, he could see the meat spinning over the open flame. He could see the plastic tables and chairs with folks eating with their hands, chasing their bites with gulps of sodas of all colors. He pictured himself there, with Willie, enjoying their meal in freedom, looking from outside at the shiny metal bus, wondering who was inside, where they were going. "Poor devils," Willie would say to him with his mouth full of juicy chicken, "they're going to Las Tumbas." And it was true. The grave for living men awaited them.